Hi again, Sophia. In my last video, I shared how I was diagnosed with my allergy and like when I was really young and how it was like in my early childhood. So today I'm going to talk about more about what it was like living with that growing up with this allergy and the things I had to avoid or like how it shaped my childhood in general. So from the moment I was diagnosed, my life was different because I always had to carry an EpiPen and albuterol with me, like to school, sports, sleepovers, literally everywhere. And so my parents really drilled it into me that I could never eat food unless I was 100% sure that it was safe. So this meant that I had to read labels constantly, and I had to always ask questions at restaurants. And even then, even after I would ask, I would never feel completely sure and completely safe. So it was really like I was living with this invisible danger over my head all the time. And so, like I said, going out to eat was really difficult. So, because first we had to find a place that could actually guarantee that their food had no cross-contamination and was peanut-free, which was nearly impossible. And so then even when the restaurants would try, there was still always a risk of cross-contamination, like a large risk. So then most of the time, my family just didn't go out. And even for dinner was one thing, but I know I never got dessert pretty much ever because like it was never safe. And then I also couldn't go to my friends' houses for dinner because I think I mentioned this in my last video, but like a lot of times parents didn't understand how dangerous it was and like how serious it was, because to them they just thought like it's just a peanut, how bad could it be, like you'll just get itchy. Like they didn't realize that I would actually die from it. And so yeah, that was just difficult. And like birthday parties, same thing. I really couldn't really go to eat any of these things without my parents being there to like confirm that everything was safe. And then I think I touched on this in my last video too, but like school was very tough because I always had to sit at the peanut-free table at lunch, so I couldn't sit with the rest of the kids. And then some days like my friends weren't there, so I had to sit like by myself. And that was always really hard because I would just be sitting there like lonely watching everyone else having fun together, you know, but I'm just sitting by myself. So that was always really hard for me, and I was always really sad. And then like during classroom celebrations, usually like at the end of every month or whatever, we'd have like birthday celebrations, so people would bring cupcakes or other desserts or treats, and I pretty much never could participate, couldn't eat them, so I just had to sit there while everyone ate their cupcakes. And then so it's just like things like that, like little things where it may not seem like that big of a deal, but like for a little kid it really was, you know, like it made me feel so left out and different. And then some days I would just come home crying, like wishing I could just be like everyone else. And so naturally living like this gave me a lot of anxiety. So I was constantly thinking like, what if I touch the wrong thing? What if someone has peanut butter on their hands? What if I make a mistake, you know? Because it was so risky. Like there were so many like simple things that could happen. Like if my friend just like didn't pay attention and was eating peanut butter right next to me or something, you know? And so this just made me feel like my allergy was controlling my life. And sometimes it seemed like I wasn't even in charge of my own childhood because everything revolved around staying safe. So overall, it was just really like, it really did control my childhood, and it really affected me a lot. Like, cause it just made me feel abnormal, or like whenever there'd be certain events or we'd go away places, like I would have to like bring my EpiPen and contact the teachers. So I had to like learn how to be very responsible too. And like a lot of times like we weren't supposed to bring backpacks, but I always had to be the exception because I had to carry my EpiPen. And I could never forget it at home or anything because then that would cause issues. So and I always had to make sure that I was communicating with the teachers and whoever was with me. And then especially with my inhaler as well, my albuterol. So it's just overall like it really affected the way I grew up. And so in some ways it probably was like it taught me how to be responsible and like organized, because I knew like I couldn't afford to not be, you know, like it was life or death. But yeah, so that's what daily life was like for me. You know, I had a lot of restrictions, a lot of fear, and a lot of feeling different from everyone else. But in my next video, I'm going to share how my family discovered the Southern California Food Allergy Institute, and how their program, their tolerance induction program or TIP, it gave me hope for the first time. So yeah, that was really amazing. So just know that if you're living with a food allergy, I know it's not easy, but just stay strong and there's always hope and you got it.